Welcome to Futex. Have you ever imagined your car spying on you? Well, it's not just a thought anymore. With the rise of connected cars and advanced technology, our vehicles are becoming smarter than ever before. But with this increased connectivity comes a potential downside. Your future car could be gathering data about everything from your driving patterns to where you go and who you talk to. In this video, we'll explore the implications of these advancements in automotive technology and how they may impact our privacy in the years ahead. So buckle up and let's dive into this exciting yet somewhat alarming topic. As cars become increasingly connected, companies are collecting more and more data from them. This data includes information on location, speed, acceleration, braking, steering, and more. This data can be used to improve safety, performance, and efficiency. However, it can also be used to track drivers and collect other information about them. Some companies, such as Tesla, BMW, and General Motors, are already collecting vast amounts of data from their vehicles. This raises privacy concerns as well as concerns about how this data will be used. It is important for companies to be transparent about how they are using this data and to give drivers the ability to opt out if they do not want their data collected. There are concerns that companies could use the data collected by in-vehicle devices for more nefarious purposes. While some of this data is necessary for the proper functioning of the vehicle, such as ensuring that safety features are working correctly, companies could use it to track drivers' movements and habits, target them with ads, or sell the data to third parties. In 2020, a study by Consumer Reports found that many new cars are equipped with advanced telematics systems that track drivers' behavior, including how fast they drive, how hard they brake, and even how often they use their turn signals. While some argue that these systems are necessary to improve safety on the roads, others worry about the privacy implications of having their every move tracked by their car. In the future, data collected from cars may be used to develop advanced algorithms that can distinguish between safe and risky driving behaviors. For example, the algorithms could detect whether a driver is safely scrolling through the car's infotainment system on a smooth highway or dangerously fiddling with a playlist while driving in snowy city streets. This could lead to alerts being sounded or displayed to warn the driver of potential risks. Studies on the psychology and mechanics of driving suggest that distraction can be evaluated based on how frequently and for how long a driver's eyes are off the road. Driver monitoring systems could use data from the car's numerous sensors to determine when a driver is not paying sufficient attention to their surroundings, such as when their car is about to be involved in a collision. In such cases, the system may even automatically tighten the driver's seat belt to improve safety. Some car makers have also started to incorporate cameras and microphones into their vehicles. For example, Tesla's vehicles come equipped with cameras that can capture footage both inside and outside the car. While this may be useful for safety purposes, it also raises privacy concerns. It's possible that the footage could be used to track a person's movements or eavesdrop on their conversations. Car makers are collecting data on their customers for a variety of reasons, but one of the main reasons is to improve their products and services. By understanding how customers use their vehicles, car makers can optimize the performance of their vehicles and develop more personalized marketing campaigns. Some car makers are also using this data to create new features and services that they can sell to customers. For example, some companies are offering in-car Wi-Fi, which allows passengers to connect to the internet while on the go. Other companies are using customer data to develop new safety features, such as automatic emergency braking or lane departure warning systems. Ultimately, car makers want to collect as much data as possible so that they can better understand their customers and offer them the best possible products and services. While some customers may be concerned about privacy, it is important to remember that these companies are collecting this data for our benefit. Several companies, such as Tesla, have already started incorporating driver monitoring systems into their vehicles. These systems use cameras and sensors to monitor the driver's attention level and issue warnings if they detect signs of drowsiness or distraction. This data can also be used to improve the design of future cars and enhance safety features. Privacy concerns have been raised regarding the collection and use of personal data from cars. To address these concerns, car manufacturers and tech companies are working on developing secure systems for storing and transmitting data, as well as implementing user controls and consent mechanisms. There are a number of ways that the data collected by in-car devices could be used to track drivers' movements. For instance, the data could be used to monitor traffic patterns and identify areas where congestion is likely to occur. Additionally, the data could be sold to third parties who could use it to target ads or other content to drivers based on their location. There are also concerns that this data could be used to monitor drivers' behavior. For instance, if the data showed that a driver frequently exceeded the speed limit, this could be used as grounds for increased insurance rates or even legal action. Additionally, if the data was sold to third parties, it could be used to profile drivers and target them with marketing material or other content. Finally, there is the possibility that this data could simply be sold to third parties for profit. If companies are able to monetize the data collected by in-car devices, this could lead to higher costs for consumers and reduced privacy for everyone involved. A report by the Government Accountability Office, GAO, found that the lack of regulation around the collection and use of vehicle data leaves drivers vulnerable to privacy abuses. The report, which was released in 2020, found that there are no federal laws that specifically regulate the collection and use of vehicle data. This means that companies that collect this data are not required to disclose how they use it or who they share it with. The GAO's report is based on an analysis of existing laws and regulations, as well as interviews with privacy experts and industry representatives. The report found that while some companies have implemented policies to protect driver data, these policies are not always effective. For example, one company that collected data from vehicles' onboard diagnostic systems did not have a policy in place to prevent employees from accessing this data without driver consent. The GAO's report recommends that Congress consider enacting legislation to address the privacy risks associated with the collection and use of vehicle data. Such legislation could require companies to disclose how they use vehicle data and give drivers the ability to opt out of having their data collected. A number of privacy advocates have called for more transparency around how carmakers collect and use data from their vehicles. Some have suggested that consumers should have more control over the data collected by their cars. There are a number of ways that cars can collect data, including through onboard sensors, GPS tracking, and infotainment systems. This data can be used for a variety of purposes, such as route planning, traffic monitoring, and marketing. While this data can be useful for car makers and consumers alike, there are also concerns about how it is collected and used. Some privacy advocates have argued that car makers should be more transparent about how they collect and use data from their vehicles. They argue that consumers should have the right to know what data is being collected and how it is being used. Additionally, they argue that consumers should have more control over the data collected by their cars. For example, they may want the ability to opt out of certain types of data collection or to choose which third parties have access to their data. Others have raised concerns about the security of car data. They argue that if this data falls into the wrong hands, it could be used for malicious purposes, such as identity theft or fraud. Additionally, they argue that car makers should do more to protect the security of this data. Overall, there are a number of concerns about how car makers collect and use data from their vehicles. Privacy advocates argue that there should be more transparency. As cars become increasingly connected, the amount of data they collect is only going to grow. This could lead to even more privacy concerns in the future. Some experts believe that the data collected by connected cars could be used to track people's movements and habits. This information could be sold to advertisers or used by insurance companies to adjust rates. Additionally, hackers could gain access to this data and use it for malicious purposes. Privacy concerns surrounding connected cars are likely to increase in the future as the technology continues to evolve. It's important for consumers to be aware of these risks so that they can make informed decisions about whether or not to purchase a connected car. Regulatory agencies, automakers, and academics are still debating the best way to support flawed, easily distracted people while they're driving, since driver monitoring systems are too new to have exhaustively proven rules. The US-based Insurance Institute for Highway Safety last year developed a safeguard list of technology to include in driver monitoring systems, including tracking both driver gaze and hand position and using quickly escalating alerts to regain drivers' attention if they fail to respond to an initial warning. As autonomous vehicles become more widespread, There are also concerns about how data collected by these vehicles could be used. For example, if a self-driving car is involved in an accident, who is responsible for the data collected by the car's sensors and cameras? These are questions that will need to be addressed as autonomous vehicles become more widespread. Thanks for watching.